The extinction of Sagara's sons was attended with great changes on the earth's surface. It is said they dug the earth and made the seas in their search for the sacrificial horse. Hence, the sea is called Sagara. This may refer to the sinking down of Atlantis when a large portion of that great continent became a seabed. There was a corresponding upheaval of the land, and the Himalayan chain reared up its head, as we can easily infer from the first appearance of the Ganges. The first flow of Ganga indicated a many sided revolution in the appearance of the Earth's surface. A new continent was formed to which India was attached as a prominent link. Spiritual subraces grew up on the banks of the sacred river who more than atoned for the sins of their fathers. The forerunner of the race of spirituality was Asamanjas, rising above the ordinary run. He was a yogi, not led away by the material tendencies of the age. His son was Anshuman. Anshuman pacified Kapila. Ganga is said to be a spiritual stream flowing from the feet of Vishnu. With the advent of this stream, the spiritual rebirth of humanity commenced in right earnest for the remaining period of the Kalpa. Already the path had been paved by the Karmakanda of the Vedas, which put restrictions on the wanton and reckless performance of karma or action. The pure magnetism of the holy river helped on the process of regeneration. But this was not in itself sufficient to cope with the forces of materiality. Accordingly, we see Kalmasha or sin appearing in the line of Bhagirada. King Kalmashpada became a Rakshasa. A Rakshasa is an elemental of destruction. When mind becomes too much identified with the gross body and its desires, its connection with the higher self is liable to be cut off by the action of the Rakshasas. These forces of tamas act in different ways to serve different purposes in the economy of the universe. When the material downfall of man reaches its furthest limit in the kalpa, the Rakshasas become tamasic forces in man, and he is unconscious of his higher nature. That sleep in time becomes a permanent sleep, and the lower man becomes dead to his real self. This is the real death of man when the ray sent forth by Ishvara comes back to him without any spiritual harvest, and what constituted the personality of man dissolves into the material universe. The time had come when a fresh departure was necessary in the methods pursued by the Leela avatars of for the spiritual regeneration of the universe. They had now to appear amongst men as ordinary beings to give direct teachings to their votaries, to infuse as much sattva as possible into humanity, and to retard by all means the further extinction of the human race. For a time, the Rakshasas reigned supreme, but not over the new continent, permeated as it was by the sacred waters of the Ganges. Their stronghold was Lanka, the remnant of the Atlantean continent. Following the descent of Ganga, therefore, Vishnu incarnated himself as Rama, one of the greatest of his manifestations. The Rakshasas of Lanka were killed. Vibhishana only survived, but he was allied to Rama and so became immortal in spirituality. The Rakshasa survives in us, but its energy of dissolution does not militate against the evolution of man. It was Rama who first gave the idea of Ishvara to the degraded human races of the present Manvantara. They knew for the first time that there was one greater than all the devas, the gods of the Vedas, and that there were planes higher than even Swarga. The path of devotion was proclaimed, and it became possible for men to cross the limits of death and of Triloki by his quantity and quality. The downfall was stopped, no doubt, but the ascent was only permanently secured by Lord Sri Krishna, as we shall see later on. After Rama, there is a little of interest in the line of Ikshvaku. The decline commenced and the line became extinct with Sumitra, but it is said one king, Maru, of this line became an adept in yoga and retired to Kalapa, where he bides his time to revive the Solar dynasty towards the end of the Kali Yuga. We may take him to be the originator of another race, which will be the reincarnation of the Ikshwaku race. We have considered the line of Ikshwaku's descendants through Purukutsa. There is another line of his descendants through Nimisha. Then we come to the Lunar Dynasty. The lunar races first appeared while the descendants of Ikshwaku were still flourishing, though on the eve of their decline. They had immense possibilities of spiritual evolution, and the great Aryan race seems to be connected with them. The appearance of these races is almost simultaneous with the first flow of the Ganges, for we find Jahnu, who swallowed up the Ganges in her first terrestrial course, is only sixth in the line of descent from Pururava. The Lunar dynasty originated in the union of Tara, the female principle of Brihaspati, and the moon. The issue was Buddha, the direct progenitor of the Lunar dynasty. The son of Buddha was Pururavas. He married Urvashi, the renowned Deva nymph. Pururava had six sons, but we are concerned with only two of them, Ayush and Vijaya. Vijaya gave the adept line of race, and Ayush the ordinary humanity. In the line of Vijaya, we find Jahnu purified by the assimilation of Ganga, Vishwamitra, preeminently the rishi of the Rig Veda and one of the seven sages of who watch over the destiny of the present Manvantara, Jamadagni, another of the seven sages of our Manvantara, and Parashurama, one of the coming sages of the next Manvantara. We have already mentioned the part taken by Vishwamitra and his sons in the composition of the Vedic mantras. Coming to the line of Ayush, we recognize the forefathers of Aryan races. In the short lived branch through Kshatriya Vriddha, we find the Vedic rishi Gritsamada, his son Sunaka, the renowned Shaunaka, Drigatamas, and Dhanvantari, a promulgator of Ayurveda. But the longest history of the race is through the descendants of Yayati. King Yayati married Devyani, the daughter of Sukra, the Presidic rishi of the planet Venus, and had by her two sons, Yadu and Turvasu. Sukra is the son of Brigu, the rishi of Maharloka. Devyana is the path leading beyond Triloki after death. But the king had also connection with the Danava girl who brought forth three sons, Druhyu, Anu, and Puru. For his Danava connection, King Yati had in youth to undergo the infirmities of age. This evil was transmitted to Puru, the youngest son of Danava girl. The line of Puru was short lived, but it is this line that gave some of the renowned Vedic rishis, namely Apatir Radha, Kanva, Medhatithi, and Praskanva. Dushmanta, the hero of Kalidasa's renowned drama, also came of this line. Vishnu incarnated in part as Bharata, son of Dushmanta. Then there was a revolution. Bharata found that his sons were not like unto himself. So the direct line of Puru came to an end. What followed is a little mysterious. Bharata adopted Bharadwaja as his son. Bharadwaja was begotten by Brihaspati on the wife of his brother Utatya named Mamata. Bharadwaja is one of the seven presiding rishis of the present Manvantara. His name is connected with several mantras of the Rig Veda.